गुड मॉर्निंग एवरीवन। तो हम आ चुके हैं। आज है 31 मार्च। टाइम हो रहा है 10:20 और मैं फिर से आ चुका हूँ वही करने के लिए जो हर रोज़ करता हूँ, दैट इज़ फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट। थोड़ा सा अगर अपडेट दे दूँ, सो राइट नाउ आई एम डूइंग मीडिया क्वेरीज। एक्चुअली मैंने ये सब कर रखा था बहुत पहले, बट HTML CSS में मुझे ज़्यादा मज़ा नहीं आता है, सो मैंने छोड़ दिया था फिर बहुत दिनों बाद। बट राइट नाउ, लाइक इन फ्रंट एंड डेवलपमेंट, यू काइंड ऑफ हैव टू बी अ लिटिल बिट fluent with HTML, CSS and JavaScript. So JavaScript तो आता ही है, ऑब्वियस सी बात है, बट लाइक HTML CSS में मुझे कुछ खास इंटरेस्ट नहीं है, बट स्टिल करना पड़ रहा है बिकॉज एक्यो जॉब में जो एक मॉड्यूल है मेरा, मुझे उसमें मॉड्यूल टेस्ट भी पास करना है। सो फॉर दैट आई हैव टू डू द HTML CSS पार्ट। सो राइट नाउ आई एम डूइंग मीडिया क्वेरीज एंड वीडियोस देख रहा था, उसके ऊपर आर्टिकल्स पढ़ रहा था, वही करूँगा। और सो दैट्स इट। अब देखते रहिए, ना देखना हो तो मत देखिए, क्योंकि वैसे भी मैं ये वीडियोस बाद में डिलीट करने वाला हूँ। सो आई मीन, ये वीडियोस बस मैं ऐसे ही बना रहा हूँ कि मैं खुद कंसिस्टेंट रहूँ। सो एनीवेज, विद दैट बीइंग सेड, आई एम स्टार्टिंग शेयरिंग द स्क्रीन। स्क्रीन शेयर हो चुका है। आप देख सकते हो कि आज है 31 मार्च और टाइम हो रहा है 10:20। खैर, तो मैं था इस वीडियो पे, सो मैं ये कर रहा था, है ना। तो स्टार्ट करते हैं।
Resulting in a responsive web design layout. Cool. Let's actually get into the syntax and the structure of media queries. Right. So what I'm writing is the syntax of media query. Just check what is it that I'm writing. Yes. So this is the syntax, guys. This is the syntax, everyone. Now let's decode. This is one thing that you can see, add media. This is something, and pretty simple to understand. And this is another thing, right? So it has three major things to understand and decode. The syntax of media query starts with at media rule, followed by the media type, and then it is followed by the media feature. Okay, so at media type, this at media, this you can say as it's like a declaration. It's like a declaration that you can say, okay, whatever I'm writing now is media query. That is what you're doing here. Absolutely, that is all. This is exactly what you're doing. Just by writing at media, you're declaring the world, okay, whatever I'm writing here is now media query, right? So at media is a rule that is being followed by a media type, right? This media type is what? Media type is used to specify the type of media the style will apply. Meaning, see, in olden time, what used to happen is we had two options. We used to write media query for screen and for print as well, right? So you have screen and print, two things on which media type can be specified. Basically, we are specifying ki where are we actually seeing our website, right? But think about it in very practical manner. How often do we print a website? No, never, right? So that will never be the case. So let's rewrite it a little bit. Let's reframe it. Can I say ki at media is something that is fixed, right? This is fixed. Followed by that, we had the media type. So the media type had two values, screen and print. Screen is what? All devices that we are using, whether it is mobile, desktop, laptop, tablet, they all come under screen, right? So hence, can I write that screen is also somewhat constant? This is something that will remain the same. Followed by that, we had something called media feature. We had something called media feature, like this, right? So this is what we have. This media feature is the most important part. Okay, why am I saying that? Because this is the condition, guys. I told you that it is nothing but CSS being applied based on a condition, right? So this media feature is a condition that must be true for the styles of the media query to be applied or to take into effect. Whatever is the condition, I'm saying ki width should be less than 500 pixels. So here the width means width of the screen or the media type, right? So if the width of the screen is 500 pixels, whatever CSS I have written here, this entire block starting from here and ending to here, all this CSS will be applied to the elements that I have in my HTML. Got it? So this media feature is the condition that must be true for the styles inside the media query to take into effect. right? So basically, this is constant, this is easy to understand, this is constant, this is easy to understand, and this is the media feature. This is something that we need to discuss, because based on this different conditions, we need to learn like what all conditions exist right now, and based on that conditions, what all CSS we must write. So that is the agenda of the next video. Now here we are closing this video, in which we understood that at media was the first thing that we.
पहला वीडियो हो चुका है, बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन था तो कुछ खास नहीं था इस वीडियो में. एनीवेज, लाइक दिस, ये जो HTML CSS है, इसमें सबसे ज़्यादा प्रॉब्लम ये रिस्पॉन्सिव डिज़ाइन ही देता है. बाकी उसके अलावा एज सच देयर इज नो सच प्रॉब्लम. लाइक यू आर यूजिंग फ्लेक्सबॉक्स ग्रिड, इट्स गुड. लाइक आई मीन बॉर्डर्स, मार्जिन्स, ये सब देना, कलर लगाना एंड ऑल दोस डिजाइन आइडियोलॉजीज, लाइक आपको अगर आता है वो सब प्रॉपर्टीज के बारे में आपको पता है, देन इट्स एब्सोल्युटली फाइन. बट देन व्हेन यू वांट टू गिव रिस्पॉन्सिव डिजाइंस, फिर थोड़ा सा दिमाग लगाना पड़ता है, एंड दैट रियली, मतलब मुझे इतना पसंद नहीं है ये HTML CSS. बड़ा बोर हो जाता हूँ ये करते हुए, बट करना पड़ेगा so that I can pass the QJob module. Anyways, let's.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another video of AccuJobs course on Frontend. So in this particular video, we'll be starting with different examples and implementation of media query. Right. So in the last class, we understood that what is exactly a responsive web design, and apart from that, how it can be made using media query. So media query is a very essential part of CSS and responsive web design. Right. So let's actually now start with it and understand what all things are there that exist that you can use.
1080 पे चल रहा था, इसलिए रुक गया. इंटरनेट थोड़ा सा स्लो है, इसलिए लग रहा है स्ट्रीमिंग भी शायद अच्छे से नहीं हो पाएगा. आई डोंट नो, लेट मी चेक. वीडियो भी लोड नहीं हो रहा है. लेट्स सी. थोड़ा स्लो इंटरनेट है. जावास्क्रिप्ट तो आता ही है, लेकिन HTML CSS में मुझे कुछ खास एड्रेस नहीं और स्पेल करना पड़ता है. बिकॉज एक्चुअली जब मैं जो एक मॉड्यूल है मेरा, मुझे उसको मॉड्यूल टेस्ट भी पास करना है, सो दैट आई हैव टू डू द HTML CSS part. So right now I am doing media queries, videos देख रहा तो उसको वही करूँगा. और so that's it. What the fuck just happened, bro? Like why? रीलोड करता हूँ पेज को. वैसे इंटरनेट इतना स्लो तो है नहीं, बट फिर भी पता नहीं क्यों, शायद वेबसाइट का कुछ डिस्टर्बेंस होगा. एनीवेज, मीडिया क्वेरी पार्ट 2. ऑन फास्टर.
And here is where we write the media feature, right? So this is where we write the media feature. What is media feature? It is the condition which, when true, will follow the CSS added here. Not written the media feature till now. No condition has been written. So before that, I'm writing here. So when this particular condition should be true, we want the background color of this particular box to turn into red. right? So this is the entire thing how we write it. Now let me show you some media feature. Let's say I'm saying that.
एक मिनट रखना, मैं पानी पी के आता हूँ ना, बोतल में पानी भर के लाता हूँ. आई एम बैक. ये पानी का बोतल भर के लाया हूँ. वो आरओ में पानी भी नहीं था, पूरा धीरे धीरे गिर रहा था. एनीवेज.
And it should change the background color to red as soon as the width changes or goes below 500 pixels.
ओके.
Right? Meaning, I want a max width of 500 pixels. This is what I'm doing. So when the width is 600, this is false, right? Because we need a maximum width of 500 pixels, right? So that is not the case when the width is 600 pixels. 550? No. 400? Yes. So when the width would be less than or at max 500, it would be followed. Let's see if that is the case. So here you will see the width here. Okay. So you can see it's 755, 600, 650, 630, 610, 580. So we are getting closer to the 500 mark. 520, 510, 504, 505, 502, 501. Right? So we are absolutely close. Now just check. Cool. So as soon as I reached 500, the background color changed to red. And you can see for any value less than 500, the background color changes to red, meaning the media query is successfully being applied. And for any value greater than that, since the CSS is not being followed that I wrote inside the media query, it is not visible here, right? So you can see that this is how things work. Okay, let me show you what else I can do. So here I can change the width to 100%. Okay, let's keep the height as constant. Let's change the width to 100. So what is going to happen? As soon as I get closer than 500, so you can see the width is now for the entire page. Imagine this being a card, right? For tablet view or a desktop view, the card should have this much, but as soon as we start hitting somewhere near the mobile view, you want the card to span across your entire width of your phone, right? So this is how you can change the card layouts, multiple component based layouts. Hundreds of things are there, right? Hundreds of applications. So this is a very very basic and first example that we have, which is of max width. Let's write something. So we have max width x. Okay, this is a condition that we can have. Then we have min width of, let's say, a, right? This is another condition. Now what is it that is going to happen here? This means that I want the maximum width to be x. So in order for this particular condition to be true, my width here should be less than equal to x and greater than of course 0, right? From 0 to x should be my max width. For min width, what would be the scenario? For min width, you will find that it is just saying that your width will be greater than a, right? Basically you should have a minimum width of a, right? Minimum width of a value, right? So these are the two things that we have. Apart from that, we have similar kind of stuff for max height, right? This also we can have, right? So if I write here max height of 500 pixels, what is it that you can expect? So they are asking you that the height should be at max less than equal to 500 pixels. Similarly, if I'm writing here min height, what is it that you can expect? So here you can expect that if I'm writing here, let's say 300 pixels. So here they are just expecting the height to be greater than 300. Only when the height is greater than 300 is when this will become true. So these are few conditions that we have, that we can follow, we can use. Let me show you how all four of these can work. Now, so this was the first condition that we wrote. So let me show you again. It said max width. So I want the maximum width to be 500 pixels, not more than that. If that is the case, then you can apply this particular CSS. And you can see that when the width,
एक बार ट्राई करके देखते हैं, ठीक है? मतलब क्या कह रहा है ये टीचर। तो हमारे पास एक div होगा और कुछ भी लिख दो, क्लास देते हैं बॉक्स, ठीक है? तो इसमें इस बॉक्स को एडिट करते हैं। हाइट दे दो 100 पिक्सल्स। तो ये हो गया हमारा बॉक्स, राइट? तो अब जब मैं इसमें मीडिया क्वेरी अप्लाई करूंगा, एट मीडिया स्क्रीन, एक बार देख लेता हूँ सिंटैक्स कैसे लिखते हैं। सर ने सिंटैक्स लिख रखा है मीडिया स्क्रीन एंड, सॉरी, एंड उसके बाद ब्रैकेट। अब इसमें मैं मैक्स विथ मिन विथ कुछ भी कंडीशन अप्लाई कर सकता हूँ। सो राइट नाउ आई नीड कि अगर मैक्स विथ 500, मतलब ज़्यादा से ज़्यादा हमारा जो व्यू है वो 500 पिक्सल्स हो सकता है। अगर 500 पिक्सल से ज़्यादा हुआ तो कुछ नहीं करेंगे, और अगर 500 पिक्सल से कम हुआ तो हमारा मीडिया क्वेरी काम करने लगेगा। सो हाउ इट्स गोना वर्क, लेट मी शो यू। सो ठीक है, अब मैं डॉट बॉक्स को सिलेक्ट करूंगा और इसमें दे दूंगा मैं विथ 100% और बैकग्राउंड कलर दे दूंगा एक्वा मरीन। सो द मोमेंट 500 पिक्सल हिट्स, तो ये ना एक 100 पिक्सल की जगह मैं 200 पिक्सल कर देता हूँ, थोड़ा सा दिखने में अच्छा लगेगा और काम करने में आसानी होगा। सो जैसे ही 500 पिक्सल से छोटा होगा जो है ये व्यू चेंज हो जाएगा। ये लेट्स सी, हैव अ लुक, ये देखो, ये पॉइंट है 500 पिक्सल वाला, है ना? आपने जैसे ही 500 पिक्सल से छोटा हो गया मैक्स विथ, तो मैक्स विथ इन दिस केस इज 500। अगर 500 पिक्सल से ज्यादा हुआ तो वो चेंज हो जाएगा। तो आप मिन विथ लगा के भी कर सकते हो इसमें। कैसे पता है? तो मिन विथ जब लगाओगे तो मिनिमम विथ इसका 500 पिक्सल होगा, मतलब कि अगर मिनिमम विथ इस केस में 500 होगा, राइट, तो 500 से ज़्यादा में ये अप्लाई होगा और 500 से कम में ये अप्लाई होगा, ठीक है। तो मिन विथ आई थिंक बहुत कम अप्लाई होगा, क्योंकि आप अगर इसमें मिन विथ लगाते हो ना, मैं आपको एक चीज़ दिखाता हूँ, ठीक है। यहाँ पे अगर मिन विथ लगाता हूँ, ये फंडामेंटली ये कह रहा है, मिन विथ लगाने का मतलब है कि 500 पिक्सल से अगर ज्यादा हुआ तो भाई ये दिखेगा, राइट। और अगर 500 पिक्सल से कम हुआ तो ये नहीं दिखेगा। 500 पिक्सल से अगर ज्यादा हुआ है, वालो 500 पिक्सल से ज्यादा, 500 पिक्सल से कम हुआ तो ये दिखेगा। इसलिए आई थिंक मिन विथ उतना यूज में नहीं आएगा मीडिया क्वेरी में, बट एनीवेज।
You can apply this particular CSS, and you can see that when the width was less than 500, it is following the particular CSS. So we have a better way to understand it as well. Let me show you that. So this is a mobile view or a device toolbar. This is called a device toolbar, right? This device toolbar will help us understand key based on different width and height, what is the condition of our page. So currently the width is 904 pixels and the height is 600 pixels, right? So let's decrease it. So what if I make it 600? So you can see this is 600. Let's make it 550. Let's decrease it up more, 510. Let's make it an even 500. So you can see that as soon as I did an even 500 on the width scale, it automatically gets into the value of the CSS media query that I applied. Basically, now the background color is now red and the width is now 100%. Even if I increase one pixel here, you can see that it comes back to a state in which the condition is not being followed, right? So, and now you can see for even if I keep decreasing the value, it is following it, but it will follow it till the time when the max height is 500, right? So this is one. Now let's change this to min. Now what is the game here? The game has reversed. Now they are expecting the width to be greater than 500 pixels. Only when the width is greater than 500 pixels, we'll see that the background color will be red and the width would be 100% of the box. Let's see if that is the case. So you can see that till 500, you can see with the value of 500, it is following it. But as soon as I decrease it, it goes back to its original state, right? And now I can increase the page size to any value, okay? But for that value, the background does not change, right? Not only can I change one thing, I can add multiple elements here, right? So let's say I created another div and give it a class of text one, right? So here I'm just adding some lorem 100 paragraph, right? And here is where I want key when I'm getting into a larger screen, basically greater than 500, I want the font weight to become bolder, and I want the line height to increase to 20 pixels. Can you feel the difference here? So let's create a 499 value in which it is not following it. So this is how it looks in a value where the condition is not being followed. As soon as I make the condition true, you can see the difference in the text as well as in the CSS of the first element, right? So this is a very basic discussion on min width and max width, right? Let's now understand how we can use min height and max height. So let's see how min width would work. Now here you can see that I've written min width of 500 pixels. This simply means that I am expecting that this condition will become true when the width of my page is greater than 500 pixels, meaning that here I'm expecting the width to be a minimum value of 500 pixels. If it is greater than 500 pixels, this conditions, this styling will be applied to the elements that I have added. If it is less than 500 pixels, it would not work here, and whatever is the default styling that does not have any condition applied to it would be applied, right? So that is the case. Let's see if it works or not. So currently you can see that since the width of my entire div is obviously greater than 500 pixels, right? Let's see. So if I show you in the inspect, let's increase the value to 800, right? And you can see that 800 pixels led to a min width greater than 500, right? So the minimum width was 500. That was the barrier to entry, right? Now, since it is 800, you can see that the background color is red, text is bold, right? As soon as I decrease it, let's make it 499, right? Which is lesser than 500. You can now see that everything changed, right? So that is min width. Let me quickly also tell you max width. Now, if I now simply change this to max width, let's see what happens. Okay, so it kind of reversed the things, right? Simply meaning that now if I increase the value, you can notice that once I increase the
ये
value,
ये
the
चूतिया
condition
प्लेलिस्ट
is
लग
now
रहा है मुझे,
not
सीरियसली बता रहा
satisfied
हूँ, क्या
because now
बकचोदी कर
here
दिया जा
in
रहा
order
है.
to get that particular few lines of CSS that I added, so now I want the maximum width of my screen to be 500 pixels. And currently we are sitting at 502 pixels. Hence that condition is not being applied. As soon as I make it 500, right, it can match the CSS that you applied using media query. So that is the beauty of it, right? So this is how max width and min width work. So in a very similar manner, max height and min height also works. Let me show you. Now here, if I change it to max height, right? So what is going to happen? So they're expecting that this is now not dependent on width, but is rather dependent on height, meaning that they're expecting that the height of the screen should be at max 500 pixels, meaning from 0 to 500, the range should be in order to get this particular CSS to be applied on the elements. Let's see. Okay, so currently the height is 600. That is why it is not applied. And since it is not applied, you can see the blue color box of some specific fixed height and the light rated font property. Now let's decrease it. So let's make it 400. Exchanged. After 400 height, you can notice that this particular CSS is applied with adding using a media query. Similarly, if I change it to min height, now they're expecting the height to be 500 pixels and above, right? Meaning now if I have something like 800 pixels, you can see the CSS has been followed. Crazy, right? So it's actually very good that based on some conditions we are able to change the CSS. You might not see the importance of it right now, but once we cover certain examples, we find okay, it was actually necessary to make certain changes for different orientation and screen sizes, right? Now that we have covered mid height, min height, and max width, let's now talk about orientation. Yes. So talking about the phone, as I told you that we will be targeting the mobile audience also, right? And the orientation matters not only for the mobile users but also for the desktop users, right? So I mean, it's less common that people use desktop or a monitor in portrait mode. Usually use it on landscape mode. But yeah, of course, we do have an option for landscape and portrait on monitors as well. There are two orientations, right? One is landscape, one is portrait. So let's see. So if I write here landscape, what does this mean? Meaning if the orientation is landscape, then this particular CSS will be applied. Let me show you. Basically, we are in landscape mode, right? So this is the landscape mode, right? And since this is a landscape mode, you can see that the CSS is being applied. Let me rotate the phone. So this is a button that can be used to rotate. And you can see that once I add rotation here, currently this is landscape. Landscape is the horizontal one, right? So if I'm using a phone, I'm using a phone
अच्छा.
horizontal. So you can see that elements look like that in a horizontal view, whereas in a vertical view, when I'm using my phone standing like this, then you'll notice that this particular type of CSS is applied, right? So that
वाह
orientation
यार.
also can be something that we can base on our media value. This orientation has landscape, and of course the second value is portrait. So here you can see that currently we are not in portrait mode, we are in landscape mode. This is a portrait mode, and hence the CSS that we applied in media is being applied, right? So we have now covered orientation, we have now covered dimensions. There's one thing that I did not tell you because I wanted you to absorb certain things. So we did learn about max width and min width, max height and min height, right? So there's one more property there. Let me show you that. So we use max and min, right? I could have also written height as 500 pixels. This means that when the height would be exactly 500 pixels, the CSS will be applied. If I increase it by 1 pixel, it will not be applied. If I decrease it by 1 pixel, it will not be applied. Meaning, for the exact value of 500 pixels, I can provide a particular CSS. Similar case is for width as well, but you can only understand that what is the use case of it. So there is absolutely no use case, but yeah, something like that exists and you must know about it, right? So that is a discussion on different ways in which we can use the condition and apply the condition and all these things to something
मतलब
that a website
ऑनेस्टली
does.
बताऊं,
Now I
मुझे
gave you
इन
the basic
वीडियोस
definition
में ना
of min width, max width,
मज़ा
min
नहीं
height.
आ रहा है. ये बेसिक्स पर आ रहा है, ऊपर से टाइम भी खराब हो रहा है. मतलब पता नहीं क्या होगा. जब मैं HTML CSS करता हूँ, मतलब क्या बताऊं, इट्स लाइक मीडिया क्वेरी हो गया. अब क्या करना है? बूटस्ट्रैप. बूटस्ट्रैप करके ये ब्लिंकिट क्लोन वाला क्वेश्चन, इस ये वाला करना पड़ेगा, है ना? ब्लिंकिट क्लोन इज अ मस्ट. आज ये कंप्लीट करूंगा. आज का एजेंडा पता है क्या है? ये ब्लिंकिट का जो क्लोन है ये मुझे बनाना है. और using bootstrap. So first of all I need to clear the concepts of bootstrap. Like मीडिया क्वेरी भी हो गया. मीडिया क्वेरी में ऐसा कुछ नहीं, वही मिन हाइट, मिन विद मैक्स विद लगा के काम करना होता है. तो इसमें कुछ बड़ी, मतलब इम्पोर्टेंट या फिर खास कुछ नहीं है इसमें. ग्रेड्स भी हमने ठीक ठाक तरीके से कंप्लीट कर लिया है. अब जो है, प्रोजेक्ट बनाना एक बहुत इम्पोर्टेंट बात हो चुका. लाइक ये आई हैव टू मेक प्रोजेक्ट राइट नाउ. अब उसके उसके लिए आई हैव टू डू बूटस्ट्रैप. सो बूटस्ट्रैप के लिए मैं सोच रहा हूँ ये करूँ या एक अच्छा सा वीडियो कर दो यूट्यूब से, क्योंकि आई डोंट नो. चलो यही करता हूँ. देखता हूँ एक्यो जॉब में बूटस्ट्रैप है या नहीं, एक बार देख लेता हूँ. एक्यो जॉब का कोई अपना बूटस्ट्रैप प्लेलिस्ट है या नहीं. बूटस्ट्रैप एक्यो जॉब, fundamentals of bootstrap, certification provided. ये क्या वीडियो है? एक्यू जॉब विद नो जॉब बट वाई? आज फक ऑफ। अभी एक बात पता है क्या? नेगेटिव चीजें देखने का टाइम नहीं है आपके पास, ठीक है? डोंट वॉच एनीथिंग दैट इज नेगेटिव। बूटस्ट्रैप। ये लो, 70 मिनट का ये वीडियो है बूटस्ट्रैप का। बूटस्ट्रैप 5 ट्यूटोरियल नेट निंजा। और ये है फ्री कोड कैंप। किसने पढ़ा रखा है देख लेता हूँ एक बार। अच्छा, ये भाई साहब है। कहाँ से करूँ? मैं सोच रहा हूँ बूटस्ट्रैप कहाँ से करूँ। पता है क्या, यूट्यूब में इतने सारे ऑप्शंस है। लाइक आप कौन सा ट्यूटोरियल फॉलो करोगे वो भी सोचने में टाइम लग जाता है। खैर मैं ज़्यादा टाइम नहीं दूंगा ये सोचने में। ये देखो, ये 5 घंटे का कोर्स है बूटस्ट्रैप। लर्न बूटस्ट्रैप 5 एंड SaaS by you'll building a portfolio website। इतना नहीं सीखना बूटस्ट्रैप, ये 5 घंटे लगा दिए। बेसिक्स आना चाहिए बस, दैट्स इट। ये क्या है? ये देख लेते हैं इसमें कितने वीडियोस हैं। ज़्यादा नहीं है ये तो, कुल मिलाकर छोटा सा प्लेलिस्ट है। चलो ये करूँगा। कौन सा? ये वाला बूटस्ट्रैप CSS फ्रेमवर्क। ये 2 घंटे का वीडियो है। इंशाल्लाह आज ही ख़त्म कर सकता हूँ शायद। तो यार, अबे ढूंढ मार। पता है क्या, ये बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन, ये ये जो बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन है ये इतना ज़रूरी नहीं है। यहाँ पे वही मतलब नॉर्मल सी बातें होगी, तो ये सुनने की ज़रूरत नहीं है। पता है क्या, वन ऑफ द मोस्ट इम्पोर्टेंट थिंग दैट आई बिलीव इज, ज़्यादा मार्केटिंग के चक्कर में मत पड़ो, है ना? कोई इंसान लेट से कैसा है कैसा नहीं है वो आप बाहर से सुन के पता नहीं लगा सकते, राइट? डायरेक्टली उससे बात करो अगर पता करना है। सिमिलरली यहाँ पे बूटस्ट्रैप क्या है कैसा है इतनी जानने की जरूरत नहीं है। यू जस्ट डू अंडरस्टैंड बूटस्ट्रैप, दैट्स इट। लाइक डायरेक्टली जंप इनटू द टॉपिक। डोंट फॉल इनटू दिस मार्केटिंग ट्रैप। The entire code shown in the video is available for download. Okay. ये सीडीएन वाला ऑप्शन मुझे थोड़ा सा अच्छा लगता है, थोड़ा सा दिमाग खराब कम होता है, तो मुझे भी लगता है मैं यही करने वाला हूँ। काम करते हैं, पहले फोल्डर स्ट्रक्चर वगैरह बना लेते हैं। यहाँ पे पता है क्या, इतने सारे वो खोल रखे हैं, इनको पहले बंद करते हैं, ठीक है। हम्म, इसको रहने दो, इसको भी रहने दो, कैलेंडर ही रहने दो। ये इंपॉर्टेंट है, चैट जीपीटी भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, कलर भी इंपॉर्टेंट है, रिएक्ट डॉक्स को हटाओ, नोशन को भी हटाओ, और ये रिएक्ट ऐप इसको भी हटाओ, और इस ट्विटर को भी हटाओ, ठीक है। हाँ, अब सीधा इसमें आते हैं, और पीपी वन में एक फोल्डर बनाते हैं बूटस्ट्रैप नाम का। बूटस्ट्रैप बना लिया हमने, और अब जो है, ये क्या है, चलो दोनों को बंद करो और अब दोबारा खोलो सीधा, और यहाँ पे जाओ एंड ओपन फोल्डर. What you're gonna be opening is you're gonna be going to the desktop. Desktop में जाने के बाद थे and then bootstrap. Bootstrap को किया आपने select and here we go. Finally we have the folder. यहाँ पे मैं index.html फाइल बनाऊंगा और अपना जो है बॉयलर प्लेट कोड लिखूंगा. bootstrap. अब जाऊंगा मैं, ठीक है, यहाँ पे जाऊंगा सीधा bootstrap. तो हो गया, खुल चुका है. रीड इंस्टॉलेशन इंक्लूड गया CDN. तो ये ज़्यादा, when you only need to include bootstraps compiled CSS or JS, you can use JS deliver. See in action with our simple quick start or browse. You can also choose to include proper JS, popper and RJS separately. CDN देखते हैं वीडियो में क्या कहते हैं, ठीक है, उसके बाद सोचेंगे. तो कोई देख रहा है वीडियो? कोई नहीं देख रहा है, मैं इतना बेबस हूँ. खैर. लो जी, हो गया बूटस्ट्रैप लोड, है ना. हेलो वर्ल्ड ये देखो, मतलब एक अलग ही तरीके से डिस्प्ले हो रहा है. सो दैट्स अ साइन दैट bootstrap has been loaded. सो चलते हैं. हैव अ लुक. मैं दिखाता हूँ आपको, मैं अभी दिखाता हूँ, ये देखो. काम कर रहा है अपना बूटस्ट्रैप बिल्कुल अच्छी तरीके से। एक बार डॉक्यूमेंटेशन देख लेते हैं, थोड़ा सा कंसेप्ट जो है वो क्लियर हो जाएगा, ठीक है। तो ये रहा हमारा डॉक्स। सो हियर आई हैव द बेसिक इंट्रोडक्शन, क्विक स्टार्ट, get started by including bootstrap production ready cdn, see it in practice with bootstrap server pen demo, include bootstrap css and css, cdn links, next steps, js components, important globals, box sizing. For more straightforward sizing in css, we switch the global box sizing value from content box to border box. This ensures padding does not affect the final computed width of an element, but it can cause problems with some third-party software like Google Maps and custom. अच्छा, with the above, reboot, ये हो गया download contents. ये क्या चीज़ है यार? मैं डॉक्स ढूंढ रहा हूँ, ये क्या आ रहा है? अच्छा, अभी तक ये सब बकवास दे रखा था, ये क्या? समझ गए? हम्म, breakpoints are customizable with determine how your responsive layout will be used across device or viewport sizes in Bootstrap. Breakpoints are building blocks of responsive design. Use them to control when your layout can be adapted at a particular viewport or device size. Use media queries to architect your CSS by breakpoint. Media queries are a feature of CSS that allow you to conditionally apply styles based on a set of browser elements. We mostly use min within our media queries. Mobile-first responsive design is the goal. Bootstrap CSS aims to apply the bare minimum of style to make a layout work at the smallest breakpoint, and then layers on styles to adjust that design for larger devices. This optimizes your CSS, improves rendering time, and provides available breakpoints. जैसा कि वो सर ने कहा था कि Bootstrap includes 6 breakpoints, sometimes referred to as grid tiers, for building responsively. These breakpoints can be customized if you are using our source SAS files. Extra small, small, medium, large, extra large. Class infix. Each breakpoint was chosen to comfortably hold containers with weights and multiples of 12. Breakpoints are also representative of a subset of common device sizes. Find media usage of storage sensible breakpoints. These breakpoints are mostly based on the scale of minimum. अच्छा। कितना सब कुछ है यार बूटस्ट्रैप में। खैर, containers are fundamental building blocks of bootstrap. Contain- building blocks of responsive design. Use them. Containers are a fundamental building block of Bootstrap that contain, pad, and align your content with given device or viewport. How they work? Containers are the most basic element in Bootstrap that and are required when using our default grid system. जब हम डिफ़ॉल्ट ग्रिड सिस्टम का इस्तेमाल करेंगे कंटेनर्स की ज़रूरत पड़ती है. Containers are used to contain pad and sometimes enter the content within them. While containers can be nested, most layouts do not require a nested container. Bootstrap comes with three different containers. Container, which sets a max width at each responsive breakpoint. Container fluid. एक बार ये करके देखते हैं. तो जैसा कि इसमें आपने देखा कि इसमें क्लास देते हैं कंटेनर, साथ में ये बॉर्डर क्लास भी दिया है इसने. तो इसके बारे में अभी तक पता नहीं है हमें, राइट. बट एनीवेज, क्लास कंटेनर बॉर्डर. ये देखो, ये एक बॉर्डर के साथ एक कंटेनर बन चुका है. इंस्पेक्ट करते हैं और इसको पहले हम ये करेंगे. एक मिनट, लॉक को साइड में ले लेते हैं, है ना. अब देखो, हमने दिया है क्लास कंटेनर, राइट. तो क्लास कंटेनर में क्या होता है? विच सेट्स द मैक्स विड्थ एट ईच रिस्पॉन्सिव ब्रेक पॉइंट. सारे ब्रेक पॉइंट में जो है मैक्स विड्थ सेट करता है. इसका मतलब मुझे लगता है कि जो ये वाला है ना, इस केस में सारे हमेशा ये जो लुक है ये मेंटेन होगा, ये जो व्यू है ये मेंटेन होगा, क्योंकि हर रिस्पॉन्सिव ब्रेक पॉइंट में मैक्सिमम विड्थ सेट होता है. ठीक है. इसका मतलब क्या है, मैं समझाता हूँ. जैसे छोटे से छोटा भी आप अगर ले लो, जैसे कि ये है, तो इस केस में अपना कंटेनर देखो, ये है. ठीक है. तो हर ब्रेक पॉइंट में ये अपने आप को एडजस्ट करेगा, बड़ा हो छोटा हो, हमेशा ये खुद को एडजस्ट करेगा हर रिस्पॉन्सिव ब्रेक पॉइंट में. तो ये है कंटेनर विच सेट्स द मैक्स विथ एट ईच रिस्पॉन्सिव ब्रेक पॉइंट. मैक्स विथ सेट करने का मतलब क्या है? मैक्स विथ सेट करने का मतलब है अगर किसी विथ से ज़्यादा हुआ, which is with 100% until the specified breakpoint. कंटेनर डैश एमडी देके देखते हैं 720 पिक्सल. ठीक है. तो तो कंटेनर एमडी में क्या होगा, 720 पिक्सल के बाद सारा जो है मतलब नॉर्मल कंटेनर लगेगा। मैं दिखाता हूँ आपको, यहाँ पे कंटेनर डैश एमडी लगा दो तो क्या होगा मैं दिखाता हूँ, अब देखना ठीक है। अभी कितना पिक्सल है, 900, तो अब समझना, ये 700, ये देखो 790 है, राइट, ये अपना कंटेनर है। मैं कम करता जा रहा हूँ, करता जा रहा हूँ, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं, कोई दिक्कत नहीं। 770 के नीचे, 760, 760 के आसपास ये 100% हो रहा है, बिकॉज आई हैव सेट द which is with 100% until the specified breakpoint। ये देखो ये 768, 768 पिक्सल्स के बाद ये 100%, मतलब 768 पिक्सल से अगर नीचे हुआ तो ये 100% विद ले लेगा। 768 पिक्सल्स के अगर नीचे हुआ, ठीक है, ये देखो, ये 100% ले लिया, ये अब 100% ही लेगा। और 760 से ऊपर हुआ तो कंटेनर ऐसे। तुम डिफरेंट ब्रेक पॉइंट्स, ये फ्लूइड भी लगा सकते हो, फ्लूइड देते हो तो क्या होता है, फ्लूइड देते हो तो ये हमेशा 100% लेगा, irrespective of whatever you're giving, it's gonna take 100% of the viewport। और तुम अगर सीधा सिर्फ कंटेनर देते हो तो हर ब्रेक पॉइंट में ये खुद को अपने हिसाब से एडजस्ट करेगा। लेट मी शो यू, सी। तो अभी कुछ है, अभी एडजस्ट किया फिर से, ठीक है, फिर से एडजस्ट हो गया, ठीक है, अभी फिर से एडजस्ट होगा, देखना, फिर से एडजस्ट हो गया। अब उसके बाद 100% एडजस्ट नहीं होगा। बेसिकली वही, ये हो गया कंटेनर का काम, ठीक है। डिफॉल्ट कंटेनर, our default dot container class is responsive, fixed with container, meaning its max with changes at each breakpoint। तो वही जो बात जो मैं कह रहा था कि इस केस में इसका जो मैक्स विथ है हर बार ही चेंज होता है, तो ये रिस्पॉन्सिव है। और इन केसेस में हम अपने हिसाब से ऑप्टिमाइज कर सकते हैं कंटेनर्स में। दिस इज द बेस्ट प्लस एनीवेज। Responsive containers allow you to specify a class that is 100% wide until the specified breakpoint is reached, after which we apply the max width for each of the higher breakpoints। जैसे कि ये है एस एम है ना, तो मैक्सिमम विद इसका एस एम तक है। एस एम से अगर ज्यादा हो गया, until small breakpoint, स्मॉल 100% स्मॉल ब्रेक पॉइंट तक 100% होगा, उसके बाद मैक्सिमम एस एम है, एस एम के बाद वो 100% नहीं लेगा। तो फ्लूइड कंटेनर्स इज सी एस एस, सैस वेरिएबल्स, सैस मिक्सिंस, इतना ज़रूरी नहीं है। अब आता है ग्रिड। Use our powerful mobile first Flexbox grid to build layouts of all shapes and sizes thanks to our 12 column system, 6 default responsive tires, SAS variables and mixins, and dozens of predefined classes। Example, देखो भाई एग्जाम्पल दे रखा है। Bootstrap's grid system uses a series of containers। ये मास्क पहनने से सांस अटक सा जाता है, सफोकेशन। Bootstrap's grid system, ऑनेस्टली बताओ यार, मुझे ना ये ग्रेड वेड करके, ये क्या कहते हैं, बूटस्ट्रैप करके करने का कोई शौक ही नहीं है, बट करना पड़ रहा है। फक इट। कोई देख भी रहा है मुझे? कोई नहीं देख रहा, चलो कोई बात नहीं। कोई देखे या ना देखे क्या फर्क पड़ता है। Bootstrap's grid system uses a series of containers, rows, and columns to lay out and align the content. It's built with Flexbox and is fully responsive. Below is an example and an in-depth explanation for how the grid system comes together. It creates three equal weight columns across all dimensions using our predefined grid classes. Those columns are centered in the page with the parent dot container. देखते हैं, कॉपी कर लेंगे। रिस्पॉन्सिव तो नहीं है, 3 कॉलम क्रिएट किया इसने। आ, बोला क्या इसने? The above example creates 3 equal width columns across all devices and viewports using our predefined grid classes. ठीक है, तो ठीक है। How it works, breaking it down, here's on how the grid system comes together. Our grid supports 6 responsive breakpoints. Breakpoints are based on mean width media queries. Mean width मतलब जैसे मीन विड्थ मतलब कम से कम इतना विड्थ होना चाहिए, उसके बाद मीडिया क्वेरी अप्लाई होता है। मीनिंग the breakpoint and all those above. Example, SM4 applies to small, medium, large, XL and XXL. कौन सा रूल? Container and column sizing and behavior by each breakpoint. Container center and horizontally paired your content. Start container for a responsive pixel width. Container filled for 100% width across all viewports and devices. For a responsive container, each column has horizontal padding called a gutter for controlling the space between them. This padding is then counteracted on the rows with negative margins to ensure the content in your column is visually aligned. मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है यार। इतना बूटस्ट्रैप करूंगा तो आई डोंट नो व्हाट आई एम गोना डू।
I was able to provide a background color blue. And that is what I was expecting here if everything works properly, right? Bootstrap. We just landed on the introduction page, and this introduction page here you can see the CSS file. So here the CSS file should be copied and it should simply be pasted inside the head tag. Now, why do you think it should be pasted inside the head tag? Simply because of the fact that we are trying to link a CSS file. And since we are trying to link a CSS file, let's check, is it a link tag? Yes, it is. Does it has an href? Yes, it does. Does it have a relation of style sheet? Yes, it does. Simply suggesting that this is a CSS file that we have just linked. And in order to check that, how do we check? Let's create a div and let's use some bootstrap based classes. So for bootstrap based class, I'll write bg primary and I'll write my name into it. Let's see how it looks like. So here you can see that without adding any other CSS file other than Bootstrap, okay, I was able to provide a background color blue. And that is what I was expecting here if everything works properly, right? So just like that, we have connected the CSS part of Bootstrap. But remember, I told you that Bootstrap is not just providing us CSS, it's providing us CSS as well as JS components. CSS as well as JS components. Since JS and CSS both are there, and we've currently linked only CSS file, now it's time to also add the JS part. Before that, let's copy paste a component from the documentation and see how it looks like. So here is the documentation. Currently, the status is that we have just copied this particular link and pasted it. Currently, nothing related to JS has been added. This is something that I would like to remind you. Now let's go to component section. In the component section, you will see this navbar section. Copy the first navbar that you see. Just copy the code of it and simply paste it here. So I just pasted the entire code. I know it's a big code, difficult to understand. Lots of classes, lots of things are there, but not our job right now. Not our concern at all. Let's see how it looks like. Array, just check how beautifully and how quickly I was able to add a navbar. And you can see it has a brand name, it has a home, it has an active link, a disabled link, a drop down, in fact, right? And a search bar, a button. Let's see the mobile view. So this is the mobile view, which says that it is responsive as well. It has a burger menu, but oh, check. As I click on this, see, I'm clicking on it. See, click, and it is not responding and not showing me the particular drop down or whatever the menu bar is, right? Why do you think that is so? See, when I click on a button, that is interactivity. And in the first class of front end, I told you that we have three core components: HTML, which is used to create the layout; CSS, which is used to add styling; and JS, which is used to add interactivity. Isn't that interaction? And interaction comes using JS. See, that is why I had not added JS link till now. Why? Because I wanted you to understand that I can add such components, but then interactivity would be something that I'll be missing out on. Right? Hence, now it's time to go back to the documentation, go back to the getting started, go back to introduction, and then at the bottom you will see these two links. These two links need to be copied and pasted at the bottom here. Now that you paste such a thing, okay, let me format it now. So these are the two JS files that are related to Bootstrap. Okay, and you must remember that these script tags should always be present at the bottom of my page. Even if I have the last component as footer, this footer component, let's say this is the footer component, the entire footer component should also be above these two script tags. If you in future add another script tag, something like this, okay, that should be present below the last component in your HTML. Please make sure, or else things would not work perfectly fine. Okay, again, let me clear it out. These script tags should always be at the bottom of your page. Now, I hope this was clear that how did we link it. Let's see if our particular navbar works perfectly or not. And you can see now it works perfectly. You can see the drop down will also work perfectly now, simply because the fact that both these interactive features have now been perfectly enrolled or integrated into my page. And that is how we link the Bootstrap for CSS components as well as for the JS components. This is how we connect Bootstrap. Now that you have understood how Bootstrap is connected simply by linking a CSS file in the head and two JS files at the bottom, now it's time to understand all these properties. I repeat, nothing new is being learned here as far as the CSS properties are concerned. We have covered every single CSS property that exists. But that point is that we need to understand how these commonly used CSS properties can be used using Bootstrap. So that would be the part of next class. And in next class, we'll be understanding how these 18 CSS properties, and if you check, these are the most commonly used ones, and they are the ones that are used to create a layer.
नाइस नाइस कंपोनेंट्स बने हुए अच्छा मैं आता हूँ 2 मिनट में, ठीक है। सॉरी, थोड़ा सा लेट हो गया। अभी के लिए इतना ही। मैं मुझे भी खाना वाना बनाना है। मम्मी का कॉल आया था, एक्चुअली मम्मी घर में नहीं है, तो इसलिए आज मुझे ही खाना बनाना है। तो अभी मैं वीडियो को कंटिन्यू नहीं कर पाऊंगा, सो लाइव स्ट्रीम को मैं यही ख़त्म कर रहा हूँ, ठीक है।